of all the people studying in India, only 54% of people are employed. India needs a dose of reality. We need more good people.
Tell me, बड़ी कंपनीज के अंदर क्रैक्स क्या होते हैं जो छोटी कंपनीज यूज कर सकती है एंड देन दे एक्चुअली विन अगेंस्ट देम?
अगर आप देखेंगे लास्ट 50 साल, a big company has not beaten a small company. A fast company has beaten a slow company. Okay, so speed is the thing a small company should use against a big company.
Difference between a Tata and a Reliance?
See, all their new consumer investments have failed. Big Basket has failed. Tata 1mg has failed. Tata Neo has failed. Big failures. They're living on past legacy.
On the other hand, Reliance, what are they doing right?
The biggest advantage Reliance has is the Ambanis, especially Mukesh Bhai. Two things he does very well. Very few leaders do it. One is think scale and execute brilliantly. He is a machine on execution. There are no excuses in Reliance.
There were two companies which were really killing BlackBerry and Nokia, and both vanished.
While Nokia made a mistake of choosing Windows against Android, it was a strategic mistake. They suffered. But BlackBerry was really blind. Your biggest use on the phone today is your WhatsApp. BlackBerry had that as BBM. They did nothing with it. That was a mistake.
What are the differences between Indian customers, Chinese customers, and American customers?
See, Indian customers finally want value in whatever price they pay. Chinese consumers value innovation, much like Japanese consumers. The American customers have a very unique thing that they can return anything if they don't like it with full price, no questions asked.
What do you think? What do small founders underestimate about how big companies think?
I think what they underestimate is big companies are able to think very big about what this opportunity can be. Big companies have a great ability to collect a lot of information to synthesize and make their decision on. Small companies don't have access to that.
What do you think? Like when you sit with these billion-dollar CEOs who are running large companies, what's their biggest fear every morning?
The biggest fear any CEO has reputational risk, both personal and institutional. Because today, Raj, trust is won or lost every 24 hours.
Give me 3 niches which you have seen in recent times where you can build a large business.
Anything to do with health is big business. Okay, keeping me fitter, keeping me healthier, growing my hair, looking attractive is a very big niche. So look at time as a dimension, look at health as a dimension. These are all big opportunities to grow niches.
Our guest today is a corporate legend who has seen it all, from leading Nokia to serving as a CEO of PepsiCo India. I'm talking about Shiv Shivakumar. In this episode, we talk about why even the biggest companies with all the money in the world still end up failing. The real power of saying no, along with why hierarchy is the biggest killer of innovation and why relying too much on logic can be poison for a startup. In the world of a CXO, your work is only as good as the tools you use. You need tech that is as high performing as you are. That is where the ASUS ExpertBook P5 comes in, an AI PC with 50 plus TOPS NPU and Copilot plus AI functionality built for you to have a worry-free experience. It features an integrated CPU, NPU and GPU that work in sync to deliver faster performance. It's reliable, fast and built for people who turn great ideas into reality. Watch this episode till the end, and if you want to level up your setup, go check out the ASUS ExpertBook P5 on Flipkart. The link is in the description. इतनी सारी कंपनीज की बोर्ड ऑफ एडवाइजर्स में कैसे हुआ? That's my genuine curious question. How?
So any opportunity, जो भी opportunity आता है, it is based on your reputation. अगर आपने contribute किया इंडस्ट्री को, इंडस्ट्री बॉडी को, लोग को, then they will reach back to you. When you play only for yourself, खुद के लिए खेलते हैं तो कोई नहीं approach करेगा आपको. So whatever you do, invest in other people, invest in the ecosystem so that you get back the returns. That is the most important thing.
Fair, but why you? There will be so many people. I was reading I was reading your entire thing, okay? किसी में your board of advisor for supply, किसी के लिए HR, किसी के लिए corporate, किसी के लिए strategic thing. So it's like wide range of things that you also focus on.
I would also say, Raj, that I've been lucky. in the sense that I've run very different types of businesses, बहुत ज़्यादा business, from Hindustan Lever to Philips to Nokia to PepsiCo to the Aditya Birla Group. बहुत range है. So that range gives you the adaptability of thinking differently about business models, about the challenges of an industry. And I think that advantage I have. Many people एक ही industry में okay, कूदते हैं उधर ही ठहरते हैं. So it can be FMCG, it can be durables, it can be banking. उनको और कुछ भी पता नहीं है. So if you are adaptable in learning and you've done industries, then लोग आएंगे आपके लिए.
And what is your role now? Like as a board of advisor, explain me this. How does it happen? How do they approach you? How some companies approaches you to become a board of advisor?
Yeah.
Then what is your role in that?
Yeah. So how do boards happen? So some companies approach headhunters and say, we are looking at 2-3 board members. This is the specification for the board members. Can you go and get us a few people? So the headhunting company will give them a list of 6 names, and these people will interview them and say, okay, what is a good fit or not a good fit? Okay. In some companies, the companies themselves approach the person directly because they know the person. They say, hey, can you come and help us? Can you be our guide, etc. So both models work. Okay. The fact is, Raj, India has the highest number of listed companies in the world.
Okay.
We have 5,200 listed companies. America has 3,300. We have the highest number of listed companies. Okay. Now, each company on an average needs about 8 to 12 board members. Okay. So let's take you need independent directors, at least 4 in each company. Out of that, you need 1 woman director also. So the opportunity is immense. बहुत ज़्यादा opportunity है. Magar you have to be good to get that opportunity. That's what. So protect your reputation. जो भी करेंगे आप, please ensure that आपका नाम
खराब ना
whatever खराब ना हो. That's very important. अगर आपका नाम खराब नहीं है तो offers will come. अगर आपका नाम खराब है तो some type of companies will approach you, which is not good for you.
Fair. And once you get appointed as a board member, what is the role of a board member?
Yeah, the role of a board member in any organization across the world is to oversee that the company does well. Number one, the company does well within the guidelines of governance. Okay, अगर rules है सबको follow करना, whether it is ESG rule, people rule, whatever it is, minimum wage rule. Okay, please follow all the rules. The role of a board is to look ahead. आज कंपनी है, थोड़ा competitive है. कल ये कंपनी competitive होगा कि नहीं मालूम नहीं है. That is where the experience of the board members comes in to say, hey, maybe you need to think like this. Maybe you need to look ahead. Okay, because people running the company, because of the nature of the digital economy and all that, they are head down in the business 24/7.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for them to look up and say, what is the horizon? And that is where very good board members come and say, hey, this could be an opportunity. Do you want to think about it? Okay. The role of a board also is to assess people capability. जो हमारे आदमी हैं, अच्छे हैं, उनका positives क्या है? क्या training होना चाहिए? Okay. What should we do with them? That's something that we should consider as a board. Next, succession planning is something a board has to be serious about. अगर कल कंपनी है राज शमानी का, okay, figuring out. राज शमानी को, who are the people reporting to him? अगर राज शमानी को next level जाना है, तो who can step in? So succession planning is another very important element for every board.
To give me an example, let's say you said कि बहुत बार लोग अपने business में ही full time घुसे हुए रहते हैं. They don't understand कि अच्छा आगे क्या है, right? Give me some companies example where you're like, they were so involved in the business and then probably because of help of board, they were able to see it better. Or maybe you asked them a right question or board asked them right question. So they started thinking beyond.
Yeah. So let's take Penguin le lo.
Okay.
Penguin
Publishing House.
Penguin Publishing House is the market leader. 450 crore, अच्छा EBITDA, etc. मगर ये पुस्तक का market is not growing. Digital जा रहा है. Okay. There is a market. but you have to ask yourself क्या करना है. What is the problem with the publishing industry? We have 5,200 bookstores in the country. We have 10,000 authors. Every man is an author. सब लिखते हैं. Everybody thinks he's the next Leo Tolstoy. Everybody thinks he's the next Virginia Woolf or whatever. सब लिखते हैं. Okay, उनका दिमाग में बैठ जाता है कि लिखना है. लिख लेते हैं. Okay. Now, the minimum copies you need to sell to break even is 2,000 copies. So one of the ideas we are pushing in Penguin is to say, देखो, if anybody comes to you, tell them please put 4 lakhs at the table to publish 2,000 copies. If 2,000 copies are sold, we'll give this deposit back to you. Automatically, you'll curtail the number of people who come to you. Simple idea, but very effective idea, like that.
But then wouldn't it harm them? Because then anybody with 4 lakh rupees can actually get Penguin as a stamp on them.
No, that's what. You put 4 lakhs, but the editorial process continues.
Okay.
It doesn't make, if it's a bad book, we will not take that money. As an example.
Got it.
So in other companies, for example, okay, let's take ice cream company. जिसमें बोर्ड है. ये शुगर फ्री का रेंज बहुत बहुत पसंद है अभी. क्यों? Q-commerce plus sugar free is a great combination. Okay, so we have to push the company to do that. Okay, so we are looking ahead to say what are the trends. And then we bring those trends to the company management attention and say, शायद आपको करना चाहिए. अगर आप करेंगे तो business बढ़ेगा.
Got it.
अगर नहीं करेंगे तो you'll fall behind.
This gets me to an interesting point. Let's flip the script now. Okay, the flipping is because आपने इतनी सारी बड़ी कंपनीज में काम किया है, इतने सारे बड़ी कंपनीज के साथ हो आप देखते हो. Okay, tell me, बड़ी कंपनीज के अंदर क्रैक्स क्या होते हैं जो छोटी कंपनीज यूज कर सकती है and then they actually win against them?
Very good. बड़ी कंपनीज में any company you take, any big company, okay, बहुत स्लो होते हैं क्योंकि उनका प्रोसेस, उनका डिसीजन मेकिंग अथॉरिटी प्रोसेस बहुत टाइम लगता है. अगर ये पेन को लॉन्च करना है एक बड़े कंपनी में, ये शायद 1 साल लगेगा. छोटा कंपनी में 2 महीने में करेंगे. दैट्स द डिफरेंस.
क्यों?
दैट बिकॉज द इवैल्यूएशन प्रोसेस, द बिजनेस के सब डिस्कस करते हैं, मोर डिस्कस करते हैं, फिर बॉस के पास जाते हैं. Whereas an entrepreneur, start to finish, in 2 months he says, I'm going to the market. Okay, so speed is the thing a small company should use against a big company. Speed. The faster you are, imagine, a big company takes 1 year to decide on one issue. In that 1 year, a small company can beat them 5 times.
Yeah.
Raj, here एक interesting statistic है. अगर आप देखेंगे last 50 साल, a big company has not beaten a small company. A fast company has beaten a slow company. Remember this. No big company has beaten a small company. Even in India, no big company has beaten a small company. Big companies might buy small companies. खरीदते हैं. Okay, so that there's no competition.
Yeah.
But you cannot beat them.
But big companies also destroy small companies, no? Because of the capital.
Yes and no. In any large company, Raj, कोई तो पूछेगा क्यों कर रहे हो? You cannot be in the business to destroy a competitor. You have to be in the business to earn trust of the consumer and grow the business. That is the basic reason why you are in business.
But sometimes big companies, because of their just deeper pockets, can actually take away your entire business overnight. Like I was reading, day before yesterday, I was reading a case study of the airport lounges. Did you read that?
I read.
You read that, right?
Yeah.
What happened with Adani and I think the company who had the monopoly for a 2,000 crore and in the stock market, they just wiped off overall in 12 months, the company's finished.
Yeah. So big companies can take away a small company, Raj, जब उनका access होता है. When they have access to scarce resources, physicality, regulation, etc. If it is pure price, it will not work. For example, Reliance Communications did not become big because they had the lowest price in telecom. They bought in an innovation with video, with 4G and 5G. That is why they became big.
Jio.
With Jio, remember that. So, ये जो product value होता है, value for money for consumers, वो ठीक होना चाहिए. नहीं तो चलेगा नहीं. Price alone will not work.
Okay. So it's some of the other competitive advantages as well.
Simple. अभी देखो एक cars as an example. Lowest price है मारुति का. मगर किसका sales अच्छा है? टाटा EV, महिंद्रा SUV, टोयोटा SUV. क्योंकि मारुति did not do either SUV or EV. Price alone is not enough.
Deeper pockets. So deeper pockets is not equal to.
I think deeper consumer understanding and deeper thinking about what is the way I can create value for people in the ecosystem is more important.
Do you really believe so?
100%.
There's no way that capital can beat a non-capital.
Capital is easily available for anybody today. For example, let's take all the startups. You think they're starved of capital? They can get any capital they want.
If the startup's doing well, yes.
Absolutely. Okay. Ideas are dime a dozen. The real challenge, Raj, is people is the problem. Getting good people. Capital is available today. Capital available है, technology available है. तो आपका दिमाग होना चाहिए. वो दिमाग के लिए you need people. You need a very good team around you. For example, let's take America had 0% interest rate for many years. UK had 1% interest. Capital was freely available. Where was that capital going? Into Asia markets, into India, into other markets. Why? The arbitrage was good. Borrow at a low thing, invest here, even if you get 10%, you're fine.
Yeah.
That was the logic. But have we built great businesses for the future? No. Because for that, you need people.
So we don't have enough people?
I think we need more good people. Let's take the recent skill report. Of all the people studying in India, only 76% of MBAs are employable. 74% of engineers are employable. 51% of arts and science graduates are employable. So now think about it. Only 54% of people studying today are employable. What does that tell you? 1 in 2 is not employable. That number needs to go up.
Why are they not employable?
I think it's history, a number of things. It's the courses we teach. It's how we teach. What do we teach for? हमारा syllabus अभी अगर ITI जाएंगे आप, Industrial Training Institutes, 3000 ITS है इंडिया में. सब जगह अब भी कोर्स है एनालॉग में. We live in a digital world. Everything is digital. If you don't teach digital, how will they be ready for a digital job?
Yeah. But then isn't it, you said 50, almost 54%, right? So 1 out of 2. हमारा 1 out of 2 भी बहुत है.
True. That's a great question. Thanks for asking. 1 out of 2 is a lot. So let's take there are 250 million people studying in schools and colleges. 1 out of 2 out of that is 125 million. Very good point. Excellent point. Thank you for asking that. The total number of people working in India today is about 460 million. 460 million. Now for 120 people to come in every year, you need to create jobs. In order to create jobs, you need investment. In order to create investment, you need processes, policies which encourage that. So it's all are linked, Raj. The second thing is interdepartmental fights.
Okay.
Silo thinking. Okay. Sales versus marketing. Marketing versus finance. Finance versus supply chain. Sales versus supply chain. The bigger the company becomes, the more the problems. Because in these companies, people see themselves as being the boss of supply chain or the boss of something. They don't see themselves as the owner of the total company. So in all large companies, power comes, Raj, from rejecting a proposal, not from accepting a proposal. In a small company, the energy propels it through.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're sitting with your people, आपके company में अगर एक idea है तो everyone will say, okay, go.
Let's go.
Let's go tomorrow morning. आपका मीडिया वाला नहीं बोलेगा क्यों ये कर रहे हैं. Okay, 2 reasons why we should not do that. सब नहीं होगा. बड़े कंपनी में ये रोज होता है. Okay, blocking and tackling is one of the sins of large companies.
What's fun in blocking? Why do they block?
It's power.
So it's just human nature, people wanting to feel like I'm more powerful and I rejected that.
Absolutely
because
correct.
I know more.
It's power, nothing more. And this is true of all what we call, if you go back to Hofstede, high power distance countries. What is high power distance country? You're my boss. You will ensure that I know my place within you. How far away I am, how differential I am to you. These are all signals of high power. India is a high power structure country. That's why we say, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, haan ji, bolo ji. Why? It's high power. We are appealing to the ego of the person. We are not appealing to the respect we are giving the person.
And we are just socially like that.
Absolutely right. Whereas the younger people are not like that. Okay, the reason being, let's take younger people, people such as yourselves. You're 29 years old. You've grown up in the social world. So you put out a post, 10 people say like, 2 people say dislike. You're used to it.
Yeah.
The people who are 2 generations ahead of you are not used to it. They're not used to criticism. They take hierarchy and position in the hierarchy as a right not to be criticized. Whereas you people have grown up with criticism from day one. So you say, fair, it doesn't matter. As long as I've got 10 likes, I'm okay.
Net is positive, I don't care.
I don't care. Correct. That is why young people, when they work in a company, Raj, they want feedback on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Bade company mein, especially legacy companies, yearly feedback also doesn't come to many managers from the owner or the boss. And people are okay with it as long as their job is protected. But young people are saying, I've done this, give me feedback now. I want feedback every day. Your whole team is wanting feedback from you every day.
That is so true.
That is the nature of young people. You need to understand that.
That is so true. Why I've never thought of it. When I work here, and if I'm not given a feedback for 1-2 months, because the team leaders give feedbacks much faster, and if I'm not given a feedback for like 2 months, I get constant messages from my team members.
Absolutely
and be like, you don't even tell us what to do. You
Absolutely,
don't tell us what's wrong, what's right, what is...
You know what they're telling you, Raj? वो लोग आपको बोल रहे हैं, you are disconnected.
Yeah.
वही तो बोल रहे हैं.
Yeah.
That is the signal. That you're not engaging with me.
Yeah. And they're very happy if sometimes even if I'm giving like a bad criticism, bad feedback, but I'm giving it for 10 days straight, they're happier.
Yeah.
Then for me, not give a feedback.
Yeah.
It's not about good feedback or bad.
Yeah.
It just, even if I'm telling them this is wrong, they like it much better than no connection.
It's exactly like social media. I put out content. I'm not sure. 0, 100. Chalega, nahi chalega. Malum nahi hai. But after I put out a contact, based on the comments, I'm figuring out kya karna hai. That's exactly what they're doing with your feedback. They're saying, okay, Raj is saying this. Let me process this.
Fair.
That's all.
Fair. And earlier this doesn't used to happen.
Yeah.
I've never seen my father's generation or ever giving feedback to anyone in their company.
See, not just feedback. See, here are some things, and it's a good question you ask, Raj. Jo hamare, okay, whether you call it niyat, procedures, practices, whatever you want to call it, okay? In the past, no employee, no child will smoke before their parents or their bosses. Today, that's over.
Yeah.
Today, the young people say, look, I'm smoking because I want to smoke. And me smoking in front of my boss does not mean a disrespecting. Okay. So all the practices which built a hierarchical society are being broken by young people.
Is it good or bad?
I think it's good. India needs a dose of criticism. India needs a dose of reality. Especially leaders. We need that. In every board meeting I encourage as much dissent as possible from as many people as possible. Because only by having dissent, Raj, will we take the right decision.
But I learned it the hard way, you know. I learned it. I was giving a speech a couple of years ago with one of the top leaders in the country of a large MNC. And he was in the C-suite. I delivered a speech and then he delivered a speech and then so after my speech, I went back to him and be like, sir, you're at such a level. Give me feedback. Give me, what have you seen? Is it right, wrong? Like, how can I improve? And he gave me something and I followed. I liked it. Okay, I want to implement that. I think because of that, after his speech, he also asked me the same thing. And I was hesitant that should I give or no.
Absolutely.
And when I gave, he got offended.
Then why ask for it?
I was like, it was a formality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you are right. Like a lot of people are not okay with criticism at that level.
He wants shabashi. So whenever leaders in India ask for feedback, they only want positive feedback. Great, sir. Fantastic, sir. They don't want to listen to the challenges.
Why?
It's again, as I went back, it's imposter syndrome. It's power.
Even at that level, you are running a 1 lakh crore market cap.
The
company.
higher you go, the more the insecurity. Remember, you can lose it in a day. See, one is the hierarchy and the power distance I talked about. Second, and a very important point, Raj, is we are not a country which accepts failure easily. The young people do. See, your young people are working with you. They accept failure in relationships every day. They accept failure in a job. Fine. They'll move on. Okay. They accept it. But the 2 generations before them cannot accept failure. Because we have constantly lived in what do other people think of us as opposed to what do I think of myself. ये जो culture है, I get my social standing by what Raj thinks of me.
Yeah.
Not what I think of myself. So power distance, hierarchy, and the fear of others' opinion is what makes this.
Yeah. And shame is a big motivator.
Absolutely
there as well.
right.
Like every failure is associated with shame.
Yeah.
So most of the things we are not doing that, what do I want to do? But we're doing because, hey, this should not give me shame in societal structures.
Exactly. So
you're just trying to avoid shame instead of living your dreams or living your...
Yeah. So I'll tell you a good example. I won't name the captain. Once I was with Tony Greig in Colombo.
Okay.
So every time I meet cricketers of stature or whatever it is, I go and talk to them about leadership, etc. So I was talking to Tony Greig about leadership and how leadership evolves. Because sport, every ball is leadership. Okay. So Tony Greig said something to me very nice. He said, Shiv, all the visiting captains, when we played against India, against a particular captain, we would joke that when we went out to toss, we would normally say heads or tails. Your captain would say draw. He doesn't want to lose. So when you play safe, you take away the chance of winning. Absolutely right. You take away the chance of losing. But more important, you take away the chance of winning.
But there must be something which big founders of big company CEOs or the way big companies think, there must be something right about it also, right?
Yes.
What do you think? What do small founders underestimate about how big companies think?
Yeah, I think what they underestimate is big companies are able to think very big about what this opportunity can be and what is required in order to put resources behind it. Where is this market headed? What can we be doing with it? Okay. Big companies have a great ability to collect a lot of information to synthesize and make their decision on. Small companies don't have access to that. They don't have access to all that information. They don't have access to that level of thinking. So, for example, to give an example, when we were in Nokia was a small company. We wanted to become a $4 billion company. We went to the market and got CEOs and people who are already running $1.5 billion and $2 billion companies and told them, come. Because we wanted people to think big. So suppose today you are 1,000 crores. You want to be a 5,000 crore company. You need to go to the market and get people to your company who are 3,000 crores thinkers already. They're already running that. So it's very easy for them to go from 1 to 5. So that scale thinking is something which small companies struggle with.
Doesn't that backfire sometimes?
Sometimes it backfires, but as long as your product is good, and I go back, as long as your product is good, you have great value for money and you're doing that, you should succeed.
No, but even after that, let's say if, for example, if my company is, I'll give you a scale, let's say random number, pick it up, let's say 100 crores. Okay. If today somebody is at 100 crores and wants to reach 1,000 crores. So get somebody who's already operating at 800,000 crore
or 500 crores.
500 crores.
Yeah.
And gets it. Don't you think it'd be a mismatch because a 100 crore company won't be able to give that kind of infrastructure, thinking, spending power, anything of 1,000 crore level?
No.
So how will 1,000 crore CEO function in 100 crore because he wouldn't know?
Yeah, very good question again. So what is very important, Raj, is 100 crore company, if you don't change, will grow at 20% per annum. You will not get to 1,000 crores. So you'll play safe. Okay. But when you have people who already run 400 crore businesses, they know what the journey is very, very quickly. They're able to give you the ideas and all that. The only thing you need to watch out for is keep your costs as variable as possible. Don't sink in fixed costs. The more fixed costs you sink in, then you'll pull the business down. So invest all the growth ideas, try and keep the cost variable.
The talent cost will be only a fixed cost, which will be a huge cost.
That's okay. That part you always need good people. Any size of business, doesn't matter, Raj. अगर आप 100 crores कर रहे हैं, 200 crore कर रहे हैं, 1000 crore कर रहे हैं. If you don't have high quality people in your company, Raj, you will not be competitive tomorrow morning. As simple as that.
But does that, again, a question on the same thinking. Don't you think that somebody who's running, let's say, 1,000 crore company and has built it in last 20 years will not be able to understand a company which has gone from 0 to 100 crore in like 2 years or 3 years?
Not true.
And that today's company must be thinking about some other solution, other stuff which probably 1,000 crore CEO doesn't get it.
Not true. So let's take, for example, you are one of the pioneers of the digital age. Google was the pioneer of digital age. So Brin and Page, they started. As soon as they came to a particular level, they realized that they did not have CEO capabilities.
Yeah.
What did they do? They got an Eric Schmidt. Think about it. They got an Eric Schmidt who had run billion-dollar corporations to say, hey, you know how to run a company. So very simply, Raj, जब आपका कंपनी जो भी सुन रहे हैं, जब आपका कंपनी 100 आदमी से ज़्यादा होता है, more than 100 people, then you need a structure. You need a process. जब 50-60 है, आप कॉरिडोर में खड़े हो सकते हैं, बोल सकते हैं कि कल ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, सबको समझ में आएगा. But after 100, you need a process and a structure. Otherwise, the company will not grow. So like, Brin and Page did, okay, you need to bring people to the table to say, hey, you've run large corporations, now take this large.
And how do you make sure that the person you're selecting, A, is right, B, is right and comes here and actually does the right thing? Because probably 100 crore founder wouldn't even know 1,000 crore operate kaise hota hai.
Very good question.
And a CEO can talk about any shit.
Very good. Very, very good question, Raj. That is where, if a founder is doing it, he has to have a comfort level with the person he's bringing in. You have to have a comfort level in each other's company. यही हुआ जो एप्पल में हुआ. Steve Jobs went and bought John Scully. बहुत खराब था. Horrible. Next 5 years, Steve Jobs was fired, John Scully was fired, company went down the tube. So, whoever you're hiring, there must be a personal comfort. That person must understand you and your ambition. You must understand the person's discipline and the passion and what he's doing or she is doing. Both are important.
How does that happen? How can you even get it?
It's over repeated dialogues, repeated chats that you'll figure it out.
But in the beginning, everybody will wear a mask till for a year, right?
So
nobody
maybe
will actually get it until you go through crisis. You don't understand who's the right person.
Yeah, maybe it'll take you a year to get the person, but you'll get somebody right at the end of that period. So because remember, even as a founder, Raj, आपको भी you need a sounding board. You can't do everything. Once you realize that, then you will do it.
Fair.
Okay. Or the other way to think about it, right? You bring somebody in, okay, बाहर से, you make him in charge of new business. Tell him आप ये करो. You continue to run the old business, so there's no impact on your old business. You are in charge. ये new business जो vertical है, आप build करो.
जब build कर दो तब बात करेंगे कि सब लेना है कि नहीं.
Absolutely right.
That's a fair approach to actually pick it up.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Like when you sit with these billion-dollar CEOs who are running large companies, what's their biggest fear every morning?
Their biggest fear every morning. See, there are many fears they have. The biggest fear any CEO has reputational risk, both personal and institutional. They don't want to see their name in the wrong way in the newspaper, either their name or the company name.
Every morning they fear this.
Everybody, because today, Raj, trust is won or lost every 24 hours. Every 24 hours. If I say something wrong on this program right now, something silly, and it goes out, my reputation will be challenged. Remember that. Okay? Which is exactly what happened to some of your peer group with some of the comments they made overnight. Now, what happens in that? Going back to what we asked, the whole society descends on them. Everybody who's a protector of the old legacy and everything about our culture, everybody descends on them. Now, you cannot be protected from anybody at that stage.
But that only happens with public figures, no? It won't happen to somebody who's not a public figure, even if they're running a large company.
So let's take, every company is a public figure in the society it operates. Full stop. Okay. Up figuring out, you are a public figure in this building where your office is. If, for example, there is a fire in your office tomorrow, the whole building will be aware of it. Remember that. So, what we call license to operate. अगर आप सूरत में हैं, अगर आप ट्रिची में हैं, अगर आप गुवाहाटी में हैं, that society looks up to you. अगर आप कुछ खराब करेंगे, तो society will look at you differently. So the license to operate and society's approval is a very important thing.
Can a startup exploit this fear?
Anything can be exploited, but you need to exploit it in a positive manner.
In a positive manner, let's say if I'm in an industry where a large company is operating and their fear is every day that something wrong should not happen, can startup look at those areas and actually go for those businesses to win in this beginning?
Absolutely. 100%. And the way to do that is look at every industry and see who are the companies who are innovating and not innovating. If an innovation from a big company is taking 2-3 years because of this fear and reputation, etc., then that's an industry to step in. That's exactly what's happened in the D2C business, which you are very familiar with. The large companies like the Hindustan Lever, like the Proctors, like the Maricos have not innovated the way they should. Suddenly you have 100, 1,000 D2C companies picking niches. Why is that, Raj? And you go back to the question you asked me about large companies. In a large company, जब आप present करते हैं, let's take a niche idea. Sugar-free ice cream idea present करते हैं. वो boardroom में it will be killed. कितने outlet होंगे? कितना होगा? 20 crore छोड़ दो. But for a D2C company, they see 20 crores as fabulous. And I'll go to 100 crores.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. How do large companies kill innovative ideas every day?
By being very rational. By being very, very rational. बोलेंगे ये नहीं चलेगा, वो नहीं चलेगा. That's one. Second thing, and I've had this furious debates with my CEOs also when I've been a marketing director, brand manager, etc. I gave it to my wife. She didn't like it. Okay. My friends didn't like it. So what? Once a CEO told me, Shiv, this packaging, I showed it to my wife. She didn't like it. I said, your wife is not my target audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So personal biases against or for an idea. Okay. Too rational at one level, personal biases at another level. These are the two reasons why we kill ideas in boardrooms.
Let's go deeper on both. First is, how can people not be rational? I'm a big believer of being delusional in the beginning when you start business, because you need to actually have an inside-outside view. Like from an inside you need to believe certain things based on what you have observed and insights that you have, and actually go out and try it in the market, or else if you're too rational, you won't start a business. But how do you think? How can somebody watching this who's a young entrepreneur actually not be rational?
Yeah.
And still be able to build a pretty good business? Because completely dreamy can also kill you.
Yeah. The first thing is suspend judgment. Okay. अगर आप मीटिंग में हैं, यू आर द एंटरप्रेन्योर, आप बात मत करो, keep quiet, let the others talk. Okay, ask people, why do you think this is a good idea? Okay, this side of the room, ask them, why do you think this is a bad idea? Okay, let them debate it. Okay, let it play out, and finally you come on a consensus based to say ये शायद कर सकते हैं और ये शायद नहीं कर सकते. Quite often what happens is the leader in the room expresses his opinion first, then everybody keeps quiet. That is the easiest way to kill an idea.
True.
Okay, the other thing you could also do, since you asked this question, Raj, is to say somebody has an idea, somebody says, okay, this is not a good idea. Then what you can say is, okay, build on the idea. What do you think is wrong about it? What can make it better? Involve the whole group. Tell me what can be, how can we make this idea better? Okay, somebody comes with an idea. Somebody will say, it's already been done by competition and they failed. They failed for other reasons. You have every right to succeed if you do it differently. So because somebody else failed is not a reason for you to kill an idea.
Fair.
So ये जो diversity of thinking है, आप उसको promote करना है. Don't be the only person in the room who talks.
Fair. But what about Reliance of the world?
That's a great question. To be fair, I would say Reliance and Adani are investing a lot more than the traditional legacy companies. They are saying we'll take the bull by the horns. A lot of people say they have government support, which is true. But despite government support, for them to invest is fantastic. Not easy.
Because they do certain things which will reap like 20 years later, 25 years later, that they're trying to build something.
I'll give you a simple stat for you to think about. Tata has been in this country for more than 100 years. Their market cap is 400 billion plus. The same as Pakistan GDP. Reliance market cap is about 250 today. And they've come 50 years ago. Now, Tatas could have done digitally. They had TCS, everything. They messed up Tata Neo. They don't have the capability for it. They're not a consumer-facing organization. That's the point.
What, give me an example, difference between a Tata and a Reliance?
They're living on past legacy. See, all their new consumer investments have failed. Big Basket has failed. Tata One MG has failed. Tata Neo has failed. Big failures, not ordinary failures. But Chandra must have the gumption to introspect and say, look, I'm going to get in very high capable professionals to guide me. He doesn't want to do that.
And on the other hand, Reliance, what are they doing right?
Reliance, the biggest advantage Reliance has is the Ambanis, especially Mukesh Bhai. Two things he does very well, which are actually contradictory. Very few leaders do it. One is think scale and execute brilliantly. See, meetings with Mukesh Bhai can go on till 3 in the morning. He is a machine on execution. No two ways about it. We want to build the FMCG business 1,000 crores. What do we need to do? We'll buy it Campo for 22 crores. Do this, cut it. Machine. There are no excuses in Reliance. In Tata's, as long as you're financially clean, you can give any excuse. So if you look at companies which are very good at risk-taking, Raj, South Korean companies are very good at risk-taking. You have to give it to them. You know why? Once they decide, they execute brilliantly. Go back to what I said about Mukesh Ambani. They're ruthless in execution. A Samsung is like ruthless in execution. Look at the LG market cap.
What an IPO.
Absolutely right. They're ruthless in execution. Okay. The other companies who are pretty good in strategy plus execution are the Chinese companies. Let's look at Vivo. Look at all these people. They've built huge businesses in India. Great products, relentless execution. They've taken more risk on the India market than anybody else.
Why?
That's in their nature. They evaluate the risk well. They're two separate entities. South Korea is a small country. They have no choice but to go abroad. And they say India is a huge market. China is a huge country. It has developed a fantastic ecosystem in electronics. They want to dominate the world. They're saying, what good is this if we don't take it across the world. So two completely different reasons, but both very valid reasons. So for example, since you asked this question, when people come to India, do they see this as a land of opportunity or a land of challenge? Companies who see it as a land of opportunities are taking a risk. Companies which see it as a land of challenge are not taking the risk. There are enough reasons to invest in India. There are enough reasons not to invest in India. Remember that.
But this also ties back to the capital, right? Samsung has insane amount of capital and backing. Chinese companies like Vivo have an insane amount of capital backing. Indian companies didn't have that.
See,
tell me an Indian phone maker who came with even 1/10 of the pockets which these guys have. So they didn't have any other choice but to trade.
I disagree there. Okay? In fact, I have had this conversation. If you go back to 2009-10, there were at least 50 to 75 Indian brands which came in phones. What were they doing? वो चाइना से एंड्रॉयड फोन खरीदते थे, ब्रांड नेम लगाते थे, बेचते थे. Okay. I met one of the Indian big brands at that point of time. And I told the owner, he spent 2 hours with me. I had just left Nokia and I was moving to PepsiCo. I told him, whatever you do, invest in R&D. You will not have this access to cheap R&D from China. They will come with their own phones into the market. It's a matter of time. I said, don't do R&D. ये कंपनी रशिया में टेलीविजन कर रहे हैं. I said, forget all that. Focus on phones. Focus on form factor. Focus on innovation. Focus on services. He listened to me. एक कान से दूसरा कान से छोड़ दिया. Today that company doesn't exist.
Which company?
Micromax. Think about it. Micromax could have been the Samsung of India. They lost it because they were not focused.
But aren't they really big now in terms of the... So they're not big in consumer market, but they're in industrial businesses thriving.
They're not in mobile phones. Full stop. As simple as that. See, in mobile phones, if you do not hit 10 share, Raj, paisa nahi banta hai. No chance.
They're not mobile phones, but then jo part manufacturing वगैरह में they've done well, right? They're
but you
really
you had the market rooting for you, consumers rooting for you. You had a consumer brand.
And you had customer love as well.
You had customer trust. Why should you lose it? Much like Nokia, we had all the trust. We went and chose Windows instead of Android. That's why we lost the market, not for any other reason. Wrong decision.
Why do you think?
Because the board and the CEO decided that, because people who were in the room told me that our people didn't feel that Google gave us enough bar for being a 32 share handset brand. So say it was a matter of egos. So since they didn't get enough bar, they said we'll go and do Windows.
Microsoft ke saath.
Yeah.
Eventually Microsoft acquired also. No?
Acquired and sold it also. Nokia's gone through all hell ever since 2013. Okay, but that's okay.
But Microsoft acquired after the Windows, or did they?
No, Microsoft acquired
and
with
then
Windows. At that point of time, Nokia had Symbian, Series 40, Series 30. Then Nokia did Windows phones, didn't work. Nokia went and did Android. Then Microsoft said, we are Microsoft, why are you doing Android? Okay, then they sold the business. So it's a lot of confusion. Huh?
Nokia can't.
Nowhere. I still use a Nokia. Okay. I'm still loyal to it. Nowhere. I don't. If they catch the next wave, for example, if they're done fold, they had a chance. Their chance at 5% share, not more.
Or maybe the AI world must have.
Will they ever be in the phone a 32, 38 share brand they were? The answer is no. Kabhi nahi hoga. Not possible at all.
Kyun?
Because they don't have. This business requires huge amount of R&D. When Nokia was a $40-50 billion corporation, we are one of the top 5 spenders in R&D. $5-6 billion. Not small money. You need to invest that. So you asked me an earlier question. Where do companies have deep pockets? Investing in R&D. Pharmaceutical companies have deep investment. Mobile phone companies have deep investment. Technology companies like chip providers have deep investment. There you need deep pockets. So वो नहीं है अभी Nokia के पास. So that's okay. There will be another average company.
There were two companies which were really killing BlackBerry and Nokia, and both vanished.
A very good example. Thank you for raising that. Let's take, you were talking earlier about how do you know consumer this thing, etc. While Nokia made a mistake of choosing Windows against Android, it was a strategic mistake. Okay? Wrong decision by the CEO and the board. They suffered. Okay? But BlackBerry was really blind. Why were they blind? Let me explain. Your biggest use on the phone today is your WhatsApp. BlackBerry had that as BBM. They did nothing with it. Think about it.
They were the first WhatsApp.
They were actually the first to have the WhatsApp. They were blind. They had the product. They couldn't see the market. Nokia chose the wrong operating system. But BlackBerry had a product they couldn't scale up. That was a mistake. So BlackBerry, again, going back, you asked me about big companies. BlackBerry started with email because especially for lawyers and stockbrokers in New York, every minute mattered. So getting push mail and knowing what was happening was very important for them to take decisions. So BlackBerry had mastered it. But in about 3-4 years, the Nokias of this world, the Apples of this world had as good as an email. So BlackBerry thought its reasons for success was only email. It is not. That was the mistake they made. And they could never come back after that. BBM was a fantastic product.
But did they fail because of the keypad and the display, the touch revolution? Because Apple came up with the touch and then
even they could have. They also did touch. They also did touch plus keypad.
They were not.
Agreed. But for example, let's say Samsung coming with Fold is a great example of counter attack. आपको भी कुछ करना पड़ेगा ना बाबा. They thought email was it. They thought Barack Obama had a BlackBerry and that 50 million coverage we got was enough. बहुत खुश हो गए. All the wrong things, not the consumer-led things. That's what I'm trying to point out. The consumer-led jewel they had was BBM, and they lost it.
And people loved BBM at
100%. I cannot tell you in Saudi Arabia, etc., girls would put BBM, code on their hand and show it to boys going by.
Really?
Absolutely. I've seen this with my own eyes. It was that popular because it was a great way to connect.
Yeah.
And it was a one-to-one connection.
So it was the first sort of private social...
Absolutely right.
Segment. First kind of WhatsApp.
Absolutely. But imagine if they had thought about how big can the social media idea be? What could we do behind it?
Tell me one thing, because you were talking about large companies and you used an example of another large company as well, right? I have a very curious question. Why do large companies keep hiring a lot of consultants, but rarely act fast? Rarely they're fast. They get like these heavy sheets and consultants with working for years and years, and then they keep doing on the reports.
Yeah. So the reason large companies employ consultants is they believe that if they need to look at the future, the current bunch of people are not able to do that. If it is a large company, I tell them, take 10 of your best people out, put them on a project for the next 1 or 2 years and ask them to give you what you should be doing. That's the best. Okay. They employ consultants because sometimes some of the tough decisions you can park saying the consultant recommended it. Suppose you have 5,000 people.
Yeah.
You want to trim that down to 3,000 people. So you say this consultant recommended that we need to cut so much in order to be competitive. Nobody can argue against that with you. So sometimes taking the uncomfortable calls.
It's a guilt minimizing process.
Correct. Absolutely right. That's one. But many times I worked a lot with consultants. They're also very bright people. They see the world very differently. They have connections across the whole world and they're able to bring for you many different angles which you might not be able to see. Especially, Raj, as technology collides every industry. See, today there is nothing called a traditional competitor. Anybody can be your competitor.
Yeah.
Whoever thought that Uber Eats would compete with a Zomato or somebody? Think about it. A ride share fellow. But Uber Eats is pretty big in many markets that they do. Now, how do they see it? Our asset is we can move things from point A to point B at the earliest possible time. You need food. What do you need early? Food. We'll do that for you. We'll source from we are not saying we'll make the food, but we'll source it for you. So competition can come from left field today. So one of the advantages of using consultant is because technology is impinging every industry, they can give you a different view of the future than you are able to think.
Fair. Tell me, if you were a 25-year-old founder with 1/100th capital of a large giant in any category, how would you beat that giant?
Number one, I would focus on the niches. Pick the niche where the large company is not focusing. Okay. Pick that niche. Be merciless on the large company. Ask yourself, how big can I make this niche? Okay. Sugar-free across the range as an example. Okay. What can I do? Or what Mama Earth did with that onion shampoo.
Incredible.
Okay. Absolutely. Pick a niche and go after it. Hell follow that and make life miserable. The one thing I should not do is try and replicate what a large company does. That's a big mistake that I would never do. Number 3, I would build a solid team of very good people, because my success depends on how the bunch of capable people I have. Whatever you do, don't sacrifice that. Okay? And have a culture which is an open, challenging culture. Why should we do this? Why should we not do this? If you're 2 founders, your question was 1 founder. If you're 2 founders or 3 founders, have clarity on how will you resolve your differences if you have one. Let's take tomorrow, you and I were partners in figuring out. We must write down to say, if the 2 of us disagree, we will go to this person for clarification and final decision. Many families suffer because of that, Raj. The reason family businesses suffer is exactly this, because nobody wants to tell the elder brother or the Tauji or the Nana.
Yeah.
If they have a disagreement in the family, they don't know how to surface it. If they surfaced it, they would be better off.
True.
That is the reason. This is what I would say.
You said niches. Give me 3 niches which you have seen in recent times which can be exploited, or where you can build a large business and nobody's building. Maybe some people are building it, still there's room.
I think anything to do with healthy food is a big business. It's a big niche. Anything to do with healthy food, high protein, millets, etc. Big business. Anything to do with time saving as a device is big business. Today, Raj, 25%, 25% log breakfast nahi khate hain because they're in a hurry. Imagine if you gave them a liquid on the go, a breakfast with 20 grams of protein in it, or something they could eat on the way. Okay, that's a big niche business. Nobody's talking about it. I believe the future business of food or ready to cook food is something you can cook in 5 minutes, which is healthy. That's all people have. On the go, even better. I think anything to do with health is big business.
So on the go, high protein meals is one.
Anything to go with health is big business. Okay, keeping me fitter, keeping me healthier, keeping my heart rate, this thing, growing my hair, looking attractive is a very big niche.
Okay.
In any which way you define it. Okay. Physical health and fitness is a big niche. Okay.
Give me an example.
For example, one of the challenges of busy executives is the ability to find time, okay, to exercise. Imagine if you had a studio, a physical studio, which was open from 6 in the evening to 3 in the morning. Many state governments are giving 24/7 licenses for liquor, for everything. Why not this? Because go back to what I said about time. Look at time as different time parts to say, look, traditionally most people go to sleep from 9 to 6 in the morning. Is there any business I can do at that point of time? It's available. Now, the guys who are doing it brilliantly are the delivery boys. The Blinkit, the Zepto, the Zomato, they're available 24/7. They're doing it brilliantly. Are there other industries who can exploit it? Okay, night college, night education. If you look at the American CEOs of the 60s and 70s, most of them went to night college. We don't have night colleges in India. Our night colleges close at 9. Can you build an ecosystem around that? That's what I mean by niches.
Very niche.
Absolutely. But very profitable because you're serving a great need. So look at time as a dimension. Look at health as a dimension. Look at fitness as a dimension. Okay, these are all big opportunities to grow niches. Then specific target groups. I think looking at it in terms of saying, what can I alleviate some of the problems of women in this country? What can I do around that? Is a big one. What can I do with children? We tend to invest a lot in children. What can I do around that? Because the ability to pay a premium for a child product is much more than paying for yourself.
True.
So there are so many things. India is such a big market. I believe, Raj, one of the mistakes young founders are making is, I would say, search for ideas. Don't search for capital. If you have good ideas, capital will follow.
But what do you think it's better for a small company? They can get to let's say, if they are focused on one niche, they're able to do 50 crore, 60 crore revenue. Is that more lucrative for a large company? Or they try to do something like 10, 20% of every category and reach like 100, 150 crore of revenue?
I always say this, Raj. Thanks for asking this. If you have 6 categories, it's better for one category to jump 10 feet than 6 categories to jump 2 feet each. That's the mistake all entrepreneurs in India make. Try and dominate one properly. That will carry you through. If you are doing everything in bits and pieces, you'll never succeed. You need to be known for something. What are you known for if 6 of your categories are jumping 2 feet each? Have one jump 10 feet. That's your spearhead.
But how difficult that is to choose?
It is not difficult to choose.
Because then if you're doing just one category, sometimes you feel the ceiling has come too soon.
No, so ask yourself, where all can I take this? How can I take this? That's what it is. Like, go back to your own example. You're doing this podcast, etc. You didn't stick to one category of podcast. You didn't stick to one genre. You spread it. But you chose it on sensible basis. 1 is your gut feel and 2 is what the market is telling you. 3 is what the team is telling you. It's the same with business. You have to choose. All strategy is a matter of sacrifice, Raj.
And why does it happen when you expand? There are some categories that trust lingers, but the other categories trust doesn't. So there was a study I was reading. If you are trusted in front of customers for making a great tea, people will buy your biscuits as well. But if you're trusted for becoming a great soap, people won't buy your tea.
Yeah.
So few companies are able to keep building products after products, and people keep trusting them again and again. And there are few companies who just can't do it.
Yeah, so that's very true. There is what we call, there is an association of a brand and what it can do or cannot do. For example, if you look at all the big conglomerates today, and we've done enough work on this, a lot of people don't believe that the big conglomerate has the necessary credentials to be in health. They might be in health, but they don't have the necessary credentials or the trust to be in health. Okay? Let's take a simple example. You look at hair care brands. Globally, very rarely have hair care brands been successful in skincare. On the other hand, if you take skincare brands, they're very successful in hair care.
Give me an example. If there is.
Pantene is an example. Sunsilk as an example.
But they're hair care brands.
Dove is an example. Dove came the other way around. From skin to hair. So, going from skin to hair, like Neutrogena, etc., is far easier than going from hair to skin. Some of the consumers don't give it to you. Let me give you a more tangible example in India. Ponds. Ponds was huge as a talc. It still is. So when Ponds launched their strategy to grow, they went into soaps and they became a 10-share brand in soaps. What did they do? Dream Flower soap, cold cream soap for the winter. Fantastic, because they were selling those products. Great cachet. Then they did a cardinal mistake. Then they launched toothpaste and toothbrushes. And the next was sanitary napkins and batteries on the line.
Under the Ponds brand?
On the Ponds branding. Okay. They launched toothpaste and toothbrushes. I was a toothpaste brand manager then. And everybody was under pressure to say we have to do something about it. So I said, let's go to consumers. And I believe this. So we asked ourselves the question, where is Ponds the strongest in this country? And we figured out it was Mylapore in Chennai, okay, where the housewife would swear by Ponds. We went there for a focus group. So, okay, a girl called Revati did the focus group. And she asked them, what do you think of Ponds, etc. She passed the packet around, motives. Fantastic, what a great product. Everybody was going gaga about it. And my heart was sinking because people wanted more money in order to fight them. So I said, okay. After the whole discussion of 2 hours, Revati then said, okay, will each of you summarize what you think about it? So there were 8 people in the group discussion. 7 of them said gaga things. The last lady, I still remember her, she was wearing a green sari, spectacles. She said, you know what, I know all you guys are gaga, but one thing in my book does not sit right. She said, Ponds is about smell. Ponds is not about taste. Toothpaste is about taste. I said, that's the answer. So I went back and said, we do nothing, guys. Ponds died. Ponds toothpaste and toothpaste died in 3 months. So many times, the core of the brand you need to understand. So if Ponds' strength was fragrance, then they could do anything in categories which had fragrance connotation, not in taste connotation. Like Colgate, many years ago, introduced ready-to-cook meals under Colgate. Why would you even do it? Why would you even do it? I think Harley Davidson introduced lasagna or something. Think about it. Why would you even try it? So history is replete with brands and categories doing the wrong things.
Give me, I'm interested in these stories now. Give me, because Unilever is one company I study a lot. I love Unilever. You spent 19 years in that company. Tell me a few great stories which changed India or which changed the way people look at product, or which has just helped you dominate that category. And tell me stories where they failed miserably.
I think the whole concept of sachization of a category was something I think Unilever mastered very well in India.
Chick started it, right?
No. Doesn't matter who starts it. See, that's the mistake we make. Anything, oh no, somebody said, so what? So what?
Where?
You took it, and actually the place where low unit price pack started was Thailand. It started with Colgate because in the financial crisis of the 90s, prices went through the roof. And so Colgate checked 2 concepts. They said, this is a small pack. You are poor, so you should buy this. And they said, this is a small pack. This is the fun way to consume the category. And consumers chose the second. So they were one of the first companies to do it. Okay. And so sachets require a very different thinking, which is in a sachet, the price point is fixed. You have to work your supply chain and raw material and everything backwards to meet that price point. Before sachets came in, everything was add-on. So sachets started the fixed price point concept. Today, I think 40% of FMCG is for price point concept. Okay? So
1 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupees. That's a fixed point and then you backward.
Absolutely right. Okay. So I think sachet, that required a lot of distribution also. So if you look at the early companies who did distribution very well in India, and Hindustan Lever was one of them. One was ITC, one was Hindustan Lever, one was Union Carbide. Okay, for different reasons why they chose it. Okay, Hindustan Lever because they sold daily products, went to the rural market. Batteries because the metal jacket was very heavy. So people could not carry the case of the batteries from the wholesale market to their homes. Very heavy. So they couldn't carry it. Cigarettes and BDs were bulky. They couldn't carry it. If you bought 100 rupees of BDs, it's 3 cartons. You can't carry it. So by definition, ITC and Union Carbide had to employ their own vans to go rural. Hindustan Lever to develop the categories. I think Hindustan Lever's grip on strategy around distribution was very good. The other thing Hindustan Lever did exceedingly well over time was to get to negative working capital. Okay, exceedingly well. So those are the reasons why Hindustan Lever succeeded. But it's the same reasons why they're failing now. And I'm honestly saying they're failing right now because they've not launched a single decent innovation of value in the last 5-6 years. Okay. They've kept talking about digital to consumer. They've done pretty little about it. They will say the usual rubbish that they need to say in a meeting, but that's not true. The proof of the pudding is in the seeing and the eating. They've missed the digital revolution completely. Let me give you a sense of it. HDFC Bank has 300 to 350 digital marketeers. The top 10 FMCG companies combined together don't have 300.
Why?
That goes back to the point. The bank saw the digital capability was crucial. It's no longer physical. You will win or lose because everything is digital.
Yeah.
Insurance is digital. Payment is digital. Okay. Borrowing is digital. Okay. Lending is digital.
Investing is digital. See?
Everything is digital. So they said, hey, we don't need branches. Each branch takes 1 to 2 crores to run. They said, we don't need any more branches. We don't need any more ATMs. As long as we get the digital act right. They over-indexed on digital. So one of the things that companies have not done successfully in India, FMCG companies, and specifically Hindustan Lever, is they have not over-indexed on digital.
You worked with ID Fresh. I really like that company.
Yeah.
What worked for them?
It's taken 15, 20 years. The ability to see that the housewife was no longer willing to sit in the kitchen and make something. Okay. Let's look 2 categories. One is batter. So the housewife orders it, makes it. In 5 minutes, the idli or the dosa is ready for her kids. Take another category which the housewife just loves digitally, D2C. Okay. Biryani.
Yeah.
India has 2 biryanis sold every second. Okay. Horrible statistic. Okay. Lots. Okay. Why is that so? It takes a housewife 1 hour to make the masalas for the biryani if she stood in the kitchen. Now, her love for her kids or the family is not going to go away if she orders a biryani from outside who aggregated all this. So that's why the housewife is saying, I'm a smart housewife now. I know how to use my resources. Okay. True. That's the key. So what does this link to? Go back to what I said about businesses. Time. You're saving them time. You're giving them back time. That 1 hour of the housewife in the kitchen to make a biryani, she now has to do what she wants with it. Either with her family or for herself or whatever else.
So now India loves convenience.
Absolutely right.
How do you make trust in a low trust society? Because
by standing out. By standing out, by being the different person. Like you said, I don't want to do anything to associate with sin categories. Fantastic. Sachin Tendulkar said, I will never advertise liquor because I promised my dad I will never advertise liquor. Okay, so by standing by what you believe.
Just that's it.
Always.
Because there are brands who have been standing on for certain values for decades. And there are guys like us who are standing on certain things for just 2, 3, 5 years. We've just started.
Yeah.
And why are customers able to trust somebody new versus somebody who's been there for 30 years?
So one of the things is, one I mentioned, by standing for something which you believe in. The second thing I would add to it, Raj, is by being relevant to the newer audience. If you're not relevant to the newer audience, so let's take what you're doing right now. Any of the anchors could have done.
Fair.
Any of the news anchors of the last 10 years could have done.
Fair.
Why haven't they done it? They were not relevant. They didn't see it as relevant. But your audience sees this as relevant. The audience does not see news reading and news anchors as relevant. So each of these big guys, the news anchors, could have pivoted here. So they would have carried the trust of differentiation from the past and they would have been relevant for the future. They didn't do it.
So just because we are relevant for in a newer format, for
absolutely
newer people,
right.
That's it.
It's
that
a
helps
huge,
you trust.
Huge, not ordinary, huge. Because then people say, what is trust? It's authenticity. Trust is, at the end of the day, I say this many times, you will not hurt me when I'm vulnerable. So when I come to listen to Raj Shamani, I know that I will get a distilled view of the truth. It will not be hype. I trust you to do that for me. In the past, I trusted the editors to do it for me. That's why I read the editorial column first. In every newspaper, an editor was a very big guy.
Fair. I have two last questions.
Yeah.
One is, what are the differences between Indian customers, Chinese customers, and American customers?
Very different. See, Indian customers finally want value in whatever price they pay. Indian customers will haggle like mad. Okay, even if they're buying a 1 lakh bag, they'll want a 10% discount. They need to feel good. And they need to go home and say, look, it was actually 1 lakh, but I got it for 80,000 bucks. So whatever they do, they want a bargain.
Okay.
It's ingrained into, people. I can't tell you the number of friends I have. They'll go buy something. I'll say, why did you buy it? 50% off. So Indian customers are that. The American customers have a very unique thing that they can return anything if they don't like it with full price. No questions asked. The return behavior in American consumers is very, very different. In India, 80% of the companies offer good service. In America, only 20% of the companies offer good service. But they're right about service. Service industry in America is actually broken. You look at the airlines. You look at the hotels. I was staying at one of the top hotels in New York. Believe it or not, they didn't have tea and coffee sachets in the room, which I take for granted in any Indian hotel.
Yeah.
Simple example. Okay. So service in US sucks. In India, in good places, service is very, very good.
Yeah. Top notch.
The top-notch service is actually Thailand. If you look at Thai hotels, for the price value, they're outstanding. You check into a Thai hotel, you have the best food platter on the table, everything. Damn good. Okay, so India's service levels are very, very... 80% of the time we get good service, though Indians crib a lot. Indians tend to complain a lot if they don't get what they want. So, for example, in Nokia, people would write to my global CEO, straight. If Indians don't like something, they will put it on social media. They'll write to anybody and everybody under the world.
True.
Anybody and everybody. They think, the global CEO is just waiting for this mail. And if he doesn't reply, again, he'll get hammered.
True.
So Indians are extremely demanding of the brands and the companies that they work with. They expect a lot and they do, they juice out a lot. Chinese consumers are very, very different in the sense that Chinese consumers value innovation, much like Japanese consumers. But Chinese consumers are a unique combination of innovation and value. Unique combination. I think we tend to be a little more on the value side than innovation. I just read a recent book on globalization and what's happening. The German minister said something very interesting. He said it's very tough to compete with China because they are both low price and high innovation. That is the Chinese consumer.
True.
So those are the three I would say.
Which one's the toughest to serve after thinking of all the challenges?
I think India is very tough to serve. Having served all three markets, I can say that.
Why?
The variables and the complexity are very, very different.
Or the tolerance is super low?
No, too much. Too much distribution, too much choice. We are a very hyper-competitive market.
What's the way to win here?
The way to win here is always to provide the best value and to systematically build your brand. Finally, brands matter. And I say this many a time in a brand session, Raj. Rich people buy brands for vanity. Poor people buy brands for security. We are still a country with a lot of people earning less than $2 a day. To them, security matters.
Yeah. How do you convince in Nokia? How do you convince people, poor people who are fighting for security? How do you convince them to buy a phone?
Great question.
Because for them, the trade-off is a choice paradox. It's like my 10 days of food is equals to
Great
a
question.
phone.
Absolutely right. Very well put. That's the exact way the consumers think. So when we went trying to sell mobile phones into the rural hinterland, you know what the rural consumers told us? If anything happens wrong, where is your service center? So Sudhir Kohli and gang first built the service centers so that then they had the confidence that if something goes wrong, I can go there. Exactly the point you made. At that point of time in 2006-07, the cheapest phone was some $2,000. Now $2,000 is a hell of a lot of money at that point of time.
Yeah.
So they said that was $45 or whatever it is. So they said, if this goes wrong, what's my guarantee? Okay, that's why we have to put service centers and give them confidence that service is very good.
But how do you convince them at this point?
Putting the service center up there.
But what do you tell them? Like, why do you need a phone?
Why do
you even need to buy this phone at the
fantastic.
first place?
That's a great question again. So one of the first successful campaigns which Devendra Kishore, Shafali Chachi, etc. did, a brilliant campaign, was on security. We showed a house, lightning and thunder in a rural market. Okay. A house is waiting for the main breadwinner to come home from the main city on his mobile. Okay. Now, they don't have a phone. The neighbor has a phone. Okay. So this man stops in a place from a PCO, calls up the neighbor's mobile phone and says, just tell them that I'm on the way. I might be half an hour late. And so this neighbor goes to them and says, your man is safe. He's just coming. It'll take half an hour. After the conversation, the young girl listening to the conversation with the mother turns to the mother and says, maybe we also need to get a phone. Security. So a phone is a personality statement. A phone is a security statement. A phone is a productivity statement. A number of roles which a phone plays. So security was a very big thing when we drove it.
So that was first. And then the second layer was?
Second layer, for example, we launched phones for women. We had Priyanka Chopra, doing our ad. It was fantastic. Her mother said this is the best ad, Shiv, that Priyanka has ever done. And she said a very simple thing. It's not a phone, it's who we are. Going back to what I said about personality. We had color phones. We had all kinds of fold phones and fantastic stuff. One of the most celebrated commercials ever. So you have to just keep thinking about how the market is evolving.
See, you must be studying a lot of stats and countries' income as well. Now, as a country's income rises, this has happened in the US before, this has happened in China, and now it's happening to our country. Overall income is rising. People are getting richer. When the country's income rises, which are the sectors which will see the maximum growth? So that somebody should be active in that sector and start thinking about some business ideas in that sector.
Okay, it is not true for all countries across all sectors. Okay, but let me give you a slice from India as India grows richer. As India grows richer, we'll place a higher emphasis on education. As India grows richer, we'll place a higher emphasis on health. As India grows richer, we'll place a higher emphasis on personality and grooming. These are all categories happen. Now, why do I say it's not true in all countries? Thailand is multiple times richer than us, but they don't have the education infrastructure that we have. Same thing with Indonesia. Okay, but America is there, UK is there. So you can't generalize to say, if India becomes a $5,000 per capita income, automatically these things will happen. It's very cultural. Okay. The other thing which will happen as we go up, and this is true in all countries, as you go up the income curve, you tend to take a lot more processed food than normal. The chips, etc. The center of the plate might not change, but the pickles, the chips, the salt will all be branded. As you get richer, which is exactly what's happening in India. Okay. As you get richer, and in India is actually, I can't say richer. The definition of richer is a little difficult in India about the category I'm talking about. Okay. Which is travel. People borrow to travel. They're taking loans to travel. In the past, income minus expenditure was savings. Today, income minus expenditure plus borrowing minus investment equals savings or loss in investment. So today, something like 50 to 60% of the holidays of millennials or more is hawked. Okay, so travel picks up.
Why do we love traveling?
I think we're a very vast country, and it's also the stage. We've got exposed far more thanks to digital and social media than ever before. Far more, Look at Indians and what they post on Facebook or LinkedIn. LinkedIn has become a newspaper now. What do you post? I went on a holiday to Bali. Why are people doing it? To make their, friend circle jealous. Okay, you don't see that same degree anywhere else in the world. Indians tend to do a lot more of this bragging on social media.
Status-driven society.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
We brag a lot more about it. It doesn't have, for example, Europe, they're very, very private about it. Even if they were to go to Windsor Castle, they won't talk about it.
हमें मजा आता है.
We like that.
Yeah.
It's our status. It's our marker.
True. You know, one of the internal features we use every time we're sitting with a FMCG company or a D2C company, or we're sitting with young founders thinking about it, I always ask them one question. What is a USP? What is the USP that client will get to know? And they're like, why are you asking USP? I'm like, I'm not talking about unique selling proposition. I'm talking about what your product provides, which is a unique show-off proposition.
Mm.
Because Indians care a lot about unique show-off proposition.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of difference. Whether it's a simple restaurant or a party or a travel, people love showing off where they have gone. And if it's not show-off worthy, it won't survive a long time if you're charging premium for it.
So a good example of that, what you say is absolutely right. A very good example of that is the shirt category. Every shirt has a monogram on it. When Arrow introduced its shirts many moons ago, when Shashi Modgal used to be the CEO, they did a lot of research. And people said, yeah, if I wear a shirt and the Arrow symbol is not there, then why am I wearing it? So there's a premiumness to it.
Yeah. We need a show-off proposition for it.
Absolutely.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much. It was pleasure talking to you. And it was absolutely amazing. I would look forward to many more conversations. We should keep doing it, and we should make it more specific next time, like specific on things, and I'll love to have it. Thank you so much for doing it. Thank you so much ये episode end तक देखने के लिए. अब आपको 3 चीज़ें करनी है. नंबर 1, इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लो ताकि हम इसी तरह और ज़्यादा वैल्यूएबल गेस्ट आपके लिए लेके आ पाएँ एंड हम वो उनसे क्वेश्चंस पूछ पाएँ जो आप चाहते हो. नंबर 2, मुझे कमेंट्स में ये बताओ कि आप और कौन कौन से गेस्ट हैं जो देखना चाहते हो हमारे पॉडकास्ट पे, ताकि हम उन्हें लेके आएँ और उनसे वो सवाल पूछें जो आप चाहते हो. एंड नंबर 3, ये एपिसोड किसी एक इंसान के साथ ज़रूर शेयर करना जिसकी लाइफ में एक पॉजिटिव चेंज आएगा, क्योंकि एक कॉन्वर्सेशन इनफ होती है किसी की लाइफ चेंज करने के लिए. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep figuring out.